Hi everyone, my name's Teddy and you're about to watch my attempt at a monotype normal hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Pearl. That's a lot of words, so I'll explain what they mean for the uninitiated. If you have no desire to listen to me explain, you can skip to 106 to jump straight into the action. A Nuzlocke is a set of self-imposed rules designed to make a Pokemon game more difficult and enjoyable for players who desire a greater challenge. During a Nuzlocke, you can only catch the first Pokemon you find on each route, you have to nickname them, and if they ever faint, you have to act like they died and remove them from your team for good. Pretty simple, right? Well, that's where the best part comes in. The hardcore Nuzlocke was devised to be a Nuzlocker's Nuzlocke, if you will. In addition to the rules stated previously, playing a hardcore Nuzlocke means that you can't overlevel your Pokemon past the next gym leader's ace, you can't use any healing items in battle, and you have to play with the battle mode on set, meaning you don't get any free switches. In addition to this, I'm also playing with a monotype normal team, which means I can't catch any Pokemon who don't have the normal typing. This kind of alters the first Pokemon in every route rule, but everything else remains the same. To determine what our encounters will be, I've gathered together all the normal type Pokemon available in the regional Sinnoh Pokedex, which can be seen here. We still have some eliminations to make though. The Snorlax line is so rare that it's practically impossible to obtain without cheats. Azurill, Swablu, and Eevee will all lose their normal typings upon evolution, and I can't evolve Porygon since I won't be able to trade with another game, so I don't want him either. Finally, Lickitung can't be found until the post-game when you gain access to swarms, so Licky is out of the question as well. This leaves me with 9 unique encounters, which isn't bad as far as monotype runs go. We can work with this. I start out by entering my name, Teddy, and my rival's name, Barry. Sometimes I like to give my rivals fun nicknames, but I feel wrong depriving Barry of his true name. My mom nags me to go check on Barry, and then he peer pressures me into committing petty theft. Before I forget, I go into my options to change my battle mode to set. We head to the professor's lab, and he gives us the Pokemon we stole, whom I aptly name Box since that's where he's going. Barry's mom asks us to chase after him, and then Dawn shows us how to catch Pokemon. I use her advice to catch our real starter, who ends up being a female Starly who I name Faygo. I box and spend a little while leveling up Faygo to the official starter level of 5, healing after every single battle to be extra careful. After that, we head up to Rivalry City and Dawn shames us for our single bird team. I deliver Barry's parcel and grab my Poketch, and then we head up north to Route 204 for my next encounter before our first battle with Barry. It's a Bidoof, who I name Mountain Dew. Faygo, Dew, and I take on Barry and come out victorious. For some reason, my battle mode wasn't on set during this battle, so I go into settings to change it again. After battling with Mountain Dew, I realize that my battle mode is still not on set, so I go into settings again and realize that I haven't been confirming my changes the whole time. This sets a good tone for the run. I get an HM from some sweaty hiker, and then a kid in Orberg escorts us to the gym, as if it isn't like 10 pixels away. I have to go do some grinding before challenging Rourke though, so it isn't time yet. This is where some of you Nuzlocke purists will probably leave a dislike, and where I do technically break the rules of the hardcore Nuzlocke. Since Rourke's rock types resist normal moves and Faygo is weak to them by means of her secondary typing, it's basically impossible for me to defeat the first gym without evolving Mountain Dew. Dew learns Water Gun on level up, which is the only chance my team had at touching rock types. But he doesn't evolve until level 15, which is 1 level above the cap. I bite the bullet and evolve him here, so I guess if you're a purist, this run is officially just a normal monotype Nuzlocke. It's no longer hardcore. All of Rourke's Pokemon go down to Water Gun, and we have our first gym badge. On the way out of Orberg, Barry stops us to remind us that he needs some Adderall. Back in Jubilife, Dawn and I take on some spacemen from Team Galactic in a double battle. Faygo rolls, and I guess Dawn's Piplup gets an assist. We use our newly available Rock Smash to get into the previously inaccessible part of Route 204 and head into Floaroma Town. We meet a girl there who asks us to save her dad from, surprise, more galactic spacemen. I battle a couple of grunts to gain access to their lair, showing them all who's boss. In fact, the decimation of the Valley Windworks Galactic building was so severe and successful that it actually corrupted the footage up until Eterna Forest. So you'll just have to take my word for the fact that Commander Saturn and her Purugly were crying for their mommies. I do a couple of neat double battles with some green-haired women, and when she leaves, I can finally catch our third encounter. A Baniri who I named Sprite. Me and my 3 creatures arrive to Eterna City, but backtrack to do a bit of grinding once again before taking on Gardenia. I'm not too worried about her since we have Faygo in our back pocket, but it's better to be safe than sorry during challenges like these. The gym trainers lead me on a wild goose chase, and finally Gardenia decides to humor me with a little battle. She leads Cherubi and I lead Sprite. Since Sprite absolutely hates our guts, her frustration is really strong and takes out Cherubi in 2 hits. Her Turtwig starts to do some super annoying withdrawal setup, which really tanks the power of Sprite's hatred. We have a super close call with Sprite getting down to only 2 HP, and since we can't heal her, I switch out to Faygo. All the withdrawals in the world couldn't save poor little Turtwig from Faygo's brutal wing attack though. Her last Pokemon Roserade comes out, and Faygo once again demonstrates the efficiency of her sharp wings. Badge number 2 is ours, and we haven't lost any friends yet. We go to grab a bike, but find out that the guy who sells them has been taken hostage. Instead of just stealing the bike like a normal person would, we have to save him. We have a conversation with Cynthia, and then we head into the Galactic Building after Mountain Dew chops down their trees. We battle some grunts who aren't a problem, and then we battle Jupiter, who has a Skuntank, who is a mild problem, but not enough to take us down. The bike guy is rightfully grateful to us for saving his life, and he offers us the bike for free, which is a better gift than that guy in Ruby and Sapphire who gives you a great ball after you save his life. We head south, and apparently Christmas still isn't over because Dawn's dad gives us an EXP share. We fight all the trainers on the bike path, which is still easy thanks to Sprite's deep-seated hatred. Dawn gives us an item that is decidedly more useless than what her dad gave us, and then we have some more trainers to battle before we zip through Mount Coronet. Some edgy guy interrupts us in the cave to give us an edgy speech, so I tell him to go post on kiwi farms or something, and then we go catch our 4th team member, Cleffa. We name Cleffa Canada Dry. In Hearthome City, we run into a Baniri, and then we run into a very tall, very intimidating French woman who ends up being Fantina, the ghost-type gym leader who we'll have to challenge later on. Inside the contest hall, we run into my mom, and she gives us a suit that we're never going to use because we don't have time for petty shit like Pokemon contests. Barry challenges us on our way out of Hearthome. Mountain Dew handles his Starly with Rollout, and Faygo handles his Roselia, Buizel, and Infernape with Wing Attack. Infernape is always a little bit nerve-wracking for us since we're weak to him, but we're safe for now. On Route 209, we catch our 5th new friend, a Chansey who we name 7-Up. Blissey is absolutely busted, but I'm not a good enough player to take advantage of Chansey, so she'll probably stay a background character until she evolves. Blissey is one of the Pokemon that makes a normal type run viable, so I really have to keep her alive. The Ace trainers right outside Veilstone City have historically given me a very hard time, and this time isn't an exception. They get within a sliver of taking out both Mountain Dew and Sprite, which raises my heart rate enough to give me a zone minute on my Fitbit brand smartwatch. Dawn stops us outside the Veilstone gym to tell us that she wants to go shopping, which is cool, but I don't really care. We grind up closer to the level cap, I spend ages solving Maylene's gym puzzle even though I'm a university-educated 20-year-old, and then we take her on. I am downright terrified for this battle. I lead Faygo and set up double teams on Meditite while it protects itself from nothing. When I'm satisfied with my setup, I sweep Meditite and Machoke with some aerial aces, and Maylene sends out her non-aerial ace, Lucario. Drain Punch drags me down into the yellow and I roost, then Lucario misses a Force Palm and my aerial ace activates his Citrus Berry. When we get him down into the yellow again, Maylene violates hardcore Nuzlocke rules and uses a Hyper Potion. Lucario misses a bunch of attacks like a chump and we take him out, winning the badge that I was most worried about without losing anyone. Dawn needs our help now since she lost her Pokedex and got it stolen by Team Galactic. We back her up in a double battle, win, and then pick up an HM for Fly, which we'll need later on. Down north on Route 214, we fight some lamos and catch our 6th encounter, which is a Girafarig we name Fresca. We pass on through the Lake Valor hotel areas, and on the way through to Route 13 in Pastoria, our citrusy friend 7-Up decides that she's my citrusy best friend and evolves into the tanky beast Blissey. Cleffa gets jealous of our friendship with 7-Up and evolves into Clefairy, in an effort to prove that she's our friend too. We take on Crasher Wake, and since we put Shockwave and Grassknot on 7-Up, she's gonna carry this battle on her genetically uncrushable egg-shaped back. Shockwave takes out Gyarados thanks to the 4x weakness. Grassknot takes out Quagsire, thanks again to the 4x weakness. Since he's Crasher Wake's ace, Floatzel takes a bit longer to bite the dust and stalls with his Citrus Berry, but 7-Up's supremacy is undeniable and she comes out on top like we all expected. We start chasing down a Team Galactic Grunt, but get interrupted by Barry, who clearly doesn't realize that we're in the middle of something. His team isn't really a problem for me anymore since we're getting more powerful by the minute. We resume our chase and defeat the runaway Grunt, and then Cynthia gives us the secret potion to clear out the Psyduck north of Solaceon Town. It's probably just a bottle of extra strength Tylenol. We cure the poor little guys of their migraines and trudge through the fog up to Celestic Town. The trainers on this route can be really tough to handle, and we have to sacrifice Fresca in order to save the lives of our stronger team members. We battle the Grunt outside the entrance to the ruins, but his Pokemon are stupid and weak, and ours are strong and cool, so he goes down. After all the shenanigans at the ruins, we head back to Hardhome on Fago's back to challenge Fantina. This battle was actually a bit of a doozy. Fantina leads with Drifblim and I lead with Mountain Dew. I yawn her and get a bit of damage in before she falls asleep. I send in 7-Up to Shockwave her, and she gets down into the yellow before waking up a little earlier than I would have liked her to. Another Shockwave brings Drifblim into the low red, which is really annoying since Fantina heals her fully next turn and we have to restart from the beginning. 3 Shockwaves in a row take out Drifblim from full health though, and then we switch in Fago on Fantina's Gengar. She keeps confusing us, but we manage to get a bit of damage off with Fly, and we roost in between to stay healthy. Fago ends up getting poisoned and dips down to a horrifying 3 HP before I switch her out into Canada Dry. I get lucky with a Sing connecting since Canada Dry would have been Canada Dead otherwise. I bring in Mountain Dew to take out Gengar with a couple of Thieves, which I taught him for the purpose of this battle. Fantina sends in Miss Magius, and I keep Mountain Dew in to get a yawn off on her. I switch in 7-Up to tank a Psybeam, and then switch Dew back in on the sleep turn, cutting Miss Magius down with Thief and stealing her Citrus Berry in the process. She wakes up and hurts Mountain Dew quite a bit, but goes out right after and we win the battle with Fantina. This was an odd one from the start since we're a normal mono-type team and she's a ghost-type trainer, but it went well and I can't complain with only one loss so far. Cynthia subtly directs us towards Canalave City, so we go there next. On the way, we catch our 7th encounter, which is a Glameow who we named Diet Pepsi. Pokemon Pearl is actually the only game ever to have Glameow obtainable in the regional dex. This is kind of disappointing since she's really cute and Perugly has a lot of personality. Maybe one day she'll be brought back. Dawn's dad forcefully genders my Pokedex and then Barry wants us to battle him again. 7-Up takes a good chunk of damage to a takedown from Staravia. I send in Fago to take care of his Heracross since 7-Up can't handle physical attacks and he goes down to a Fly. Monferno gets within a sliver of killing Fago, which is really scary, so we switch in Mountain Dew intending to take Monferno out with a Surf. But that doesn't happen, and he lives with a Sliver, which means he takes out our friend Mountain Dew for good on the next turn. This loss hurt more than Fresca, since we've had him since the beginning, but emotions have no part in Nuzlocke. Diet Pepsi avenges Mountain Dew, and 7-Up takes out Buizel. Fago finishes off Roselia, and Barry runs away with his tail between his legs. We do quite a lot of grinding before challenging Byron, since we really need Sprite to finally warm up to us enough to go from McDonald's Happy Meal size to super size, and it wouldn't hurt to pack a couple more levels on the rest of our team as well. Sprite evolves, and not one to be shown up, Diet Pepsi evolves as well. She's more of a Pepsi Max now. Byron leads Bronzor, and with a great deal of patience and an even greater deal of Shadow Claws, it eventually goes down. Steelix is next, and I use Charm to lower his attack. I switch in Fago to drop his attack even further. Once I realize how little Fly does to him, I switch right into 7-Up and alternate between Grassknot and Fire Blast, which I got from a TM I bought from the Veilstone department store. Bastiodon comes out next, and I use Fire Blast. I'm a bit upset by how little damage it does, but we burn him, which is really helpful. I was worried the whole time that he'd get rid of the burn by using Rest, but the Pearl AI is stupid and that wins us the battle. I got really lucky with all my Fire Blasts hitting, since they're not the most accurate move out there. With Byron's badge now safely in our pocket, it's time for some plot shenanigans. Barry leads us to the library where the professor goes on a geriatric rant and we witness an earthquake. We're directed to Lake Valor and, on the way, Faygo evolves into Staraptor. Staraptor has always been my favorite early route bird evolution. I'm not sure how much of that can be attributed to the fact that Sinnoh is my first generation, and how much of it can be attributed to the fact that Staraptor is just undeniably really f***ing cool. We end up in a battle with Saturn that isn't very hard as much as it's just annoying, and then we have to head to Lake Verity to battle Mars and her big fat cat. Unfortunately for her, I have a big fat cat of my own. Bronzors continue to be really annoying for me to deal with since I don't have anything to counter them, but that isn't really an issue yet. On the way through Mount Coronet to Snowpoint City, I catch every single Clefairy I encounter in order to farm for a Moonstone. In the process, I do find a Moonstone, but I end up with a ton of Lepa berries as well. Canada Dry evolves into Clefable, which makes her a bit more viable coming up to Candice, Volkner, and the Elite Four. On the way to Snowpoint, we also catch our 8th encounter, a Noctowl who we named Doc Pepper. We already have a normal flying type, so I only really have him for insurance purposes. We head into our battle with Candice and take out Snover in a couple of slashes from Diet Pepsi. I do something risky and keep Diet Pepsi in on Medicham even though she's really low HP at this point, and I think I'm absolutely f***ed when Shadowclaw leaves it with a sliver, but the hail comes in to save the day and Diet Pepsi lives. I send in Sprite on Abomasnow, who immediately puts her to sleep, which puts a damper on my plans. I try to wait out the sleep, but Sprite gets really hurt with a wood hammer and I don't want to lose her, so I send in Faygo. Abomasnow uses Avalanche, which is scary at first, but it leaves Faygo hovering around the halfway point in terms of HP. I go for a fly, which ends up taking out Abomasnow in a single hit. I send in Canada Dry on Sneasel and get lucky once again with Sing connecting. I make an unbelievably risky play here. I send Sprite in on Sneasel even though she's asleep, betting on her waking up before Sneasel and being able to take it out with Jump Kick before it can take us out instead. This play ends up paying off, and Sprite wakes up only to boot Sneasel into the stratosphere. Thanks to her, the badge is ours. We have some more Team Galactic and plot shenanigans to get through here, but I'm willing to bet that most of us are familiar with how this shakes out by now. Basically, we defeat a bunch of spacemen, release some aliens, climb up to Spear Pillar, fight some more spacemen, and then we catch God only to shove him in our PC immediately afterwards. Got it? Good, because we're moving on. It's time for our final gym battle with Volkner. I think it's kind of stupid that his name is so similar to Faulkner, and I keep messing that up while typing out my script. This battle isn't super special. We have a close call with Diet Pepsi, but close calls are nothing new to us by this point. After all the training we've done, Volkner doesn't really stand a chance against us. It wasn't his fault. We complete the long trek through Victory Road, and I do so extremely carefully. I take zero risks here. I don't want to lose anyone before heading into the Elite Four. Before we have the chance to conclude our run, Barry challenges us to a final rival-on-rival battle. Staraptor is Putty and 7-Up's electrified hands. Heracross knocks us into the red, which was scary since I knew I should have switched in the first place, but I guess I had some false confidence in our egg. Faygo steps in and sweeps until Snorlax, which calls for Sprite. Canada Dry comes out to take out Roselia, and we've crushed Barry's self-esteem officially. Aaron, the first Elite Four member, specializes in bug types. Being a super strong bird, Faygo takes care of his team pretty uneventfully and very easily. Bertha's next, and she's down with the ground. 7-Up takes out Quagsire right out the gates with a 4x effective Grass Knot, and then uses the same strat to put Sudowoodo on the ground. Golem is next, and he also goes out to a Grass Knot. 7-Up really pulls her weight here. Wishcast causes us a bit of trouble, but Soft Boiled does its job and we're able to take it out again with more Grass Knots. Hippowdon goes out to 2 Grass Knots as well, and then we've defeated Bertha. I probably could have been more creative during this battle, but I'm still super worried about Cynthia, so I want to be as careful as possible. The penultimate Elite Four member Flint is a bit difficult for us because we don't have anything inherently super effective against fire types. His biggest threat is Infernape. Since Doc Pepper has some psychic moves, I plan to use him to help out with the ape, but he unfortunately passes away and we're forced to put Faygo in harm's way. Thankfully it all shakes out in our favor and then we have to take out Steelix. I hate Steelix. I have to team up Sprite and 7-Up in order to take him out. I initially want to take out Flint's Lopunny with our Lopunny just to prove that we really are the better trainer, but to stay safe I end up sending in Canada Dry to do the job. Drifblim goes out to a few good Thunders, and then we're on to the final Elite Four member, Lucian. Lucian's psychic types are neutral territory to us, so I'm not particularly scared or confident heading into our battle with him. Now that she loves us, I can always count on Sprite's return to take out a foe in 1 or 2 hits. I take out Medicham and Alakazam with Faygo, who gets pretty close to kicking the bucket, but stays alive because she knows that I really need her to. 7-Up tries to set up for an attack on Girafarig, but he just kept doing a little too much damage for me to feel comfortable with it. I send out Diet Pepsi instead and take it out with a feint attack. Lucian's Bronzong is going to be a royal pain in the ass. He's really defensive, so that leaves us chipping away at his health without any super effective attack options. After a tedious and long rotation of my team, Bronzong dings his last dong and we can finally move on to the summit of our run. Cynthia. She leads Spiritomb and I lead 7-Up. I press forward with Thunderbolts, continuing on through his Hyper Potion and eventually taking him out. Faygo's Fly takes out Lucario in 2 hits. Cynthia sends in Milotic and Fly does a good chunk of damage on her. But then she uses Ice Beam and Faygo is dead meat. I pour one out for her and continue on, sending in Canada Dry to Thunder Milotic. This doesn't go exactly as planned, and even though we get her down to half health with a paralysis, Canada Dry passes away. I only have 3 team members left at this point, so it isn't looking great. Diet Pepsi comes in, and it's looking like she'll be able to take out Milotic with some HP to spare, but she gets frozen. This was just pure unlucky RNG, and it's quite possibly cost us the run. Sprite comes in to finally take out Milotic, and then Cynthia sends in her horrifying Garchomp. Sprite goes on a defensive kamikaze mission to lower Garchomp's attack and chip away as much of his HP as she can, at the cost of her life. I think that 7-Up has a chance to take out Garchomp, but only if his physical attacks don't hit as hard. I'm right about this, and we manage to take out Garchomp with a combination of Grass Knots and healing. Since he's 4 times weak to grass, Cynthia's Gastrodon is easy to handle with Grass Knot, but he ends up poisoning us with Sludge Bomb before we take him out. This is really unfortunate, and it makes me regret getting rid of Refresh. Cynthia's last Pokemon, Roserade, comes out, and we're definitely on the losing end here with 7-Up being poisoned and all. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I last longer than I thought I would. Eventually though, 7-Up loses all the PP on Soft-Boiled, and we have to face the music that we've lost this run. This isn't the best result, and I'm not thrilled, but it happens. I'm not a professional, so losing a run isn't surprising to me or anything. I jumped into an unfamiliar challenge, with this being both my first hardcore Nuzlocke and my first mono-type Nuzlocke all in one. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, feel free to leave a like. If you want to support me and my channel, subscribe and turn on notifications to see my future videos. Have a good one!